big. It's the way to go. Eat a fig, not a pig. Let your kindness show. If it's your wig or a jig or a swig, do you dig? Big. It's the way to go. It's Big Fat Vegan Radio.
When something's fat, there's a lot to show. It's gotta be fat to help the movement grow. Making fat loud chat that won't be flat. It's that. And here's our show. It's Big Fat Vegan Radio.
I just got that vegan glow, like a drag queen calling Patrick Goudreau. I'm a YouTube beacon cooking up good eating. Veganism makes me glow. It's Big Fat Vegan Radio.
Alright, vegans, all together now! When something's fat, there's a lot to show. It's gotta be fat to help the movement grow. Making fat loud chat that won't be flat. It's that.
It's the way to go.
It's Big Fat Vegan Radio.
Hey everyone, welcome to Big Fat Vegan Radio. We're podcasting from New York City today to discuss veganism in all of its glory. I'm here without Laura Yaz, vegan writer and entertainment know-it-all, and I am your co-host Ben Strothman, otherwise known as Honey LaBronx, everyone's favorite vegan drag queen, or at least I hope your favorite vegan drag queen. And you can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube by searching for Big Fat Vegan Radio. And you can follow along with our show notes at bigfatveganradio.com. Today, we have an incredible Thanksgiving-related interview for you guys. I recently saw a video on Facebook by the incredible Harren, author of the book Thanking the Monkey, Rethinking the Way We Treat Animals, and also the founder of dawnwatch.com. Harren posts a video every year at this time where she's rescuing 2 turkeys, which she later takes to Animal Place Sanctuary in Northern California. And my good friend Michael Harren, shared this video on my Facebook wall. And it was just so moving and so compelling. If you haven't already, you might want to pause this episode and go check out that video. We have it posted for you in the show notes. And you'll get to see the 2 turkeys she rescued, which she named after Anne Hathaway and Jessica Chastain, 2 glorious vegan actresses. So we're going to talk today with Harren and get to hear a bit more about her activism, about her book, about her work, and about what Thanksgiving means to her. Here is Harren. Harren, welcome to Big Fat Vegan Radio.
It's very good to be here.
Oh, it's so great to have you. And thank you so much for taking time on Thanksgiving Day to join us on the show.
It's totally my pleasure. I'm delighted to be able to talk about Anne and Jessica Turkey on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes. Well, first off, how are they doing?
They're absolutely gorgeous. We just let them out to greet the morning, and they're strolling around the front yard. I'm lucky I have a fenced-in front yard so that they get to stroll around, and I live in a neighborhood where a lot of people walk past the front yard on their way to the bluffs at the end of the street. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally hundreds of people a day, so they'll be greeting people all day long and teaching them how adorable turkeys are and making them uncomfortable about their roast in the oven.
Oh, I sure hope so. You know, you are such a smart lady. I've been looking into just connecting the dots between all of your work. And, you know, while it might just look like, oh, she wrote this book and it's really clever and it's really a fun read, and oh, did you see this video where she rescued these turkeys? There is such a drive and like a method behind everything that you're doing. You know, for our listeners, I'll of course post the video on our show notes. But you know, I saw this gorgeous video where you brought in these 2 turkeys, and you're rescuing them and bringing them to the farm sanctuary. And
they're actually, I just want to mention, they're actually going to Animal Place this year, which is a lesser known farm sanctuary, but one they do such beautiful work. And Kim Sterler who runs it, she and I have known each other through activism for years, and I just want to make sure they get a really nice plug because they so deserve it. They do great work, and I hope you might post I have a little fundraising page for them, and I hope you might post that, honey, and that people will go and maybe donate them a little something to help look after not only these turkeys but the many hundreds of other chickens, turkeys, and other gorgeous animals that they look after.
Absolutely. It's a perfect time for that as well. My co-host Laura has been posting nonstop pictures from Animal Place. She was just up there.
Perfect.
It just looks like she had such a blast. It's funny, the name Farm Sanctuary seems to be synonymous for us with all the different sanctuaries out there. But there are so many different sanctuaries to be had, and Wow, I really don't know where to start. I guess I should back up a bit and say that a while ago, you first came on my radar when a friend of mine who was not quite vegan, but very veg curious, and he came out with us with a group of vegans for dinner one night, and he was so excited to lug with him this heavy book that he's like, Ben, if you haven't, you have to read this book. And Karen, I think I know everything. I think I've seen it all, and I think I'm too good for everything. So I'm like, yeah, let's see this book. And he hands me this. It looks like this novel, and it's such an easy read. As I told you earlier, it pains me to read a Scrabble tile, but this book, you can't put it down. It's, I was looking at it earlier, and it's kind of, the way I would describe this book is like, you can either sit down and watch Earthlings and then take a week off of work because you're so depressed. Or you can look through this book, which just very neatly gets the information across in a really fun and easy read. It's like, it's almost like a comic book. There's so much illustration and so much humor throughout. What was the thought behind this?
Well, that was the whole point. To be honest, thanking the monkey, and I'm sure knowing you, that's what first got you interested as the saucy title.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanking the Monkey actually does contain all of the information that is in, say, Earthlings. There's nothing missing from there, as you know. It's pretty thorough and goes into detail about all the sad stuff. But it's wrapped in the idea with all my activism is to wrap it in this sort of joyous package. So I'm doing that with the turkey rescue video that, of course, the photo you see is me bathing the turkey, and people click on the link, and then, oops, about a minute in, I think I'm seeing turkey slaughter and somebody at the slaughterhouse actually punching a live turkey.
Yep.
It's in there, but just enough of it that I think people can handle without clicking away. And I tried to do that with my book, too. You pick it up, it looks fun. There's, some images that aren't very fun, but most of them are bizarro cartoons. So I really wanted people who aren't already committed, who aren't already completely interested in this cause, to be able to read it. And then also those of us who are already committed and know about this cause, we feel like we just can't bear to see another horrible image. So I wanted also activists to be able to read it, because even though, as you say, you're someone, for example, who knows a lot about the movement, this, I put so much research into that book that very seasoned activists tell me that when they read it, there's still stuff that they didn't know that they learn. And more importantly, they feel that they learn how to answer questions that others ask them. So for that reason, the book is also for activists, because, it's a nice tool to have. So the whole idea with all my activism is just to wrap a serious message and serious information in a joyous and easily digestible package.
And speaking of activism, I definitely agree that there's nothing in Earthlings that isn't in your book. But I would argue there is stuff in your book that is not in Earthlings. For example, it covers all, entertainment, clothing, research, food. But there's an entire chapter, Compassion in Action, which is like a training manual on like, hey, so we got your interest? Cool. Here's what you can do. And it talks so much about your media savvy and really, emboldening people. And that's really what I feel like the message of Big Fat Vegan Radio is, like our mission is to get people to take their compassion and realize, like, hey, you can do, some people go out and rescue animals. Some people, doll up and drag and make cooking shows, but you don't have to be a drag queen. You don't have to be a ninja. You can just do what comes naturally to you. And if I can quote you, I was looking at an interview someone did with you online, and you were saying, I know in order to be effective, it helps if we pick and choose and specialize and gain areas of expertise. Our hearts, our natural inclinations will tell each of us what that area should be. How did you find your area?
I said that?
Either you said that or the person commenting on your work it took that away from your work, but it was in an interview that was done with you online.
Oh, cool. It might have been some time ago. How did I find my area? Well, I've written for ages, and straight out of college I went into the news world.
Yes.
And so that was in Australia, and I started working with the 7:30 Report as a producer, and I got a feel for how media worked. And it just seemed to be something that a lot of people in our movement maybe didn't know that much about, and I knew a fair bit about.
Yeah.
So that seemed an obvious thing. And Dawn Watch is something I started, 13, 14 years ago, when I just realized that I knew how important feedback to the media was. And this was before the days where media posted everything and asked people to tweet in. Now everything's so interactive, but in those days things weren't. And so I realized that we could be really effective by letting the media know that we love it when they post animal stuff. So that's how Dawn Watch started, is just to encourage the media to shine the light on cruelty and to let people know what was going on in the animal world. And through that, I just sort of developed into a sort of a media specialist in the animal rights world, and I just it just seemed to be the best fit for me. So that's what I do, and that's, of course, what the turkey rescue is all about. I mean, I love having them here. They're so fun. But to be honest, I do it for the media, and as turkey season's coming up, I think, wouldn't it be nice to have the turkeys here? And it is, but when I think, oh gosh, it's really, really exhausting, do I want to do it? And then I think, well, I have to do it because they get gorgeous media and they let people, see how turkeys are and maybe rethink what they're eating on Thanksgiving. So
it's so brilliant. I mean, it's such a short video for how much content it packs in. First off, I mean, by the time I finish watching that video of your turkey rescue this year, I almost forget that people just don't have turkeys like people have dogs. They just look like such a regular old affectionate domestic pet. And
it's hilarious. I walk outside and Jessica just comes running up, and as I walk down to the front gate, she comes running after me. And if you've never seen a turkey run, it is pretty hilarious. They really look like dinosaurs. And when they run, it's just so funny and so adorable. I just can't stop giggling, and they're just sweet and affectionate, Yeah,
I actually had the pleasure of sharing that video yesterday with a friend of mine who is not vegan. And, it just drew her in, and I don't know that I would have got her to sit down to watch Earthlings with me, but just that split second, for as much as you prime the pump, she's so ready to sit through the undercover footage, from Mercy for Animals showing the conditions, and how they're slaughtered.
There's something I want to mention that, we've made comparisons to Earthlings, and I think both of us can attest to the fact that Earthlings, of course, is a wonderful movie, and that we don't want to be trashing it, and that it's had a fantastic effect on a lot of people, but that there's different strokes for different folks, and different things will appeal to different people. And my type of activism is just different, and the idea is that it's more easy to get into than Earthlings is.
Oh, absolutely. I've always said that, every movement is going to need their Martin Luther Kings and their Malcolm X's. There's a lot of people I know who are like, I'm already vegan, I can't bother to watch Earthlings. But I always say, every now and then I kind of have to re-watch it just to remember why I'm doing it.
And there's some people who are veganized by Earthlings without a doubt, and then there's some people who can't bear to watch it who aren't. So there's something for everybody, and I love that about our movement.
Yeah. I know people always, I've always referred to Earthlings as the vegan maker. I'm like, when people say, what is Earthlings? I'm like, if you weren't vegan before you watched it, you'll definitely be vegan afterwards. But
I actually refer to Forks Over Knives as the vegan maker, and I'd love to take this opportunity to give that incredible movie a little plug, because it mostly focuses on the health aspects, But then a lot of people, once they're sort of heading towards veganism because of the health aspects, are more willing to look at the ethical aspects. So that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I think Forks Over Knives does such a great job of pointing out to people what they're gaining as opposed to what they're giving up in going vegan.
Exactly. What a great way to put it. I'm going to use that, honey.
Oh, please do. Please do. I want to go back to Dawn Watch for people who haven't been. Dawn Watch, it's just... You know, I have a little bit of a background in the media myself as a press photographer and a photojournalist, and I've seen so many press releases and how they're typed up and how they're sent out. And the media is nowadays really just wants to be spoon-fed. I mean, so many people out there who are quote-unquote journalists are really just rewording press releases. I mean, they're really expecting us to do a lot of their work for them. And there was something so brilliant. I'm forgetting now whether I saw this at Dawn Watch or no. It wasn't Thanking the Monkey. It was in the chapter on compassion and action, where just someone took a chance and emailed a reporter about the rodeo, and the next day that reporter, who had done a favorable story on the rodeo, did a follow-up story the very next day because one activist reached out and they're like, oh, hey, there's another point of view here and there's a lot of cruelty that goes on, etc. And what I loved about Dawn Watch is that it reminds us the statistics on, hey, for every letter you send to your local media outlet, that represents anywhere from, they assume it represents anywhere from 50 to 500 of their listeners' opinions. And they're very, very likely to publish this information.
That rodeo story is actually one of my favorites, and how it actually went is that it's Lucy Shelton, who's a wonderful California activist, and she had seen, a story in the local paper promoting the rodeo, and she got in touch with the reporter nicely. It's so important that we're nice when we deal with the media, even when we hate what they've written, because nobody wants to do the right thing when somebody's just attacked them. So she got in touch nicely and said, I saw your story, and I think you probably have no idea some of what goes on behind the rodeo. May I send you some information? And the journalist emailed her back and said, sure. And Lucy sent her this whole stack of, some of the stuff from Shark, and which is a wonderful group that document rodeo abuse. And that was, as you just said, the next day the reporter did a follow-up story, and the headline was Animal Activists Greet Rodeo as They Come to Town, and it was all about why the animal activists are doing what they're doing, and real details mentioning that horses get electric shocked in the rodeo. It was an extraordinary story, and it was all because Lucy took the time to get in touch with that reporter.
It's so incredible.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. I would really be interested to know. I mean, I just saw, it's probably only been 24 hours since I saw the video online of your turkey rescue. What kind of and I didn't realize that this is something that you do. Is this like your third annual now?
This is my 6th annual.
Oh my gosh.
Rescue. Yeah.
What kind of a response has this gotten already since the videos that you've posted this year? Both from the media and from your neighbors.
It's so positive. I feel badly because I got this video out very late this year because this was the first time I completely did it on my own. I've never sort of edited a video on my own. I was learning the software. It took much longer than I thought it would take, so I got it out very late. I got it out just about 3 days before Thanksgiving, and which is always a mistake, and that's something, you learn as you go. You have to think about timing when you're doing press releases because all the journalists and all the reporters are on holiday and there's nobody around to cover the story. But nevertheless, it's got some beautiful press already, and I think my favorite and most surprising bit of news was that Fox Business News Network covered it yesterday morning, and I totally thought they would be like slamming it and saying how ridiculous it was, and I shouldn't have had that kind of preconceived idea because it was a completely positive, cute little story. The reporters looked a little bit bemused, not the reporters, the anchors looked a little bit bemused, but it showed the bath and blow dry video, and it mentioned that Ann and Jess are going to Animal Place where they'll spend their lives as ambassadors teaching children that, quote, Turkey Day is a lot more fun when the turkeys are alive and well. And that was the anchors on Fox Business News Network saying that. And I just thought, okay, this is obviously, we're onto something good here. And also the times are changing, that Fox Business News Network's happy to put something out like that the day before Thanksgiving.
You know, this is what I love about your work, Harren, is I've heard that same soundbite now so many times in watching in watching, you know, the various videos you have of turkey rescues, and just seeing some of the press that you've done on the issue. You're very good at getting those sound bites in, and again, the media so often, they really just want to be spoon-fed, and if you give them talking points, if you give them, you know, sound bites, that's what they're going to run with. And it's sad
Absolutely.
that's
sound
how...
You feel dumb talking in sound bites.
Yep.
But you have to. And I do media training for other people.
Yep.
And I just teach them that whatever you get asked, you can, you know, answer what they've asked you for maybe a few seconds, and then you go back to what your main message is. Because if you keep going back to your main message, then that's what's going to appear in the story.
And look at that. You've got people on Fox News saying with their own mouths that Thanksgiving is more fun when the turkeys are at the table and not on it. That's so brilliant. So what do you do for these gorgeous turkeys when you bring them home? Like, what's their first day of freedom look like? And a second question I have to tack on there is this moment in the video when you lift the cage and your friend with you, he just says, "Oh my God, they know." Like, they know. There's this moment, you know, I've always wondered in animal rescue when that moment is that the animal just knows, like, wait a second, something is different here.
I think they can tell by our voices and our manner. You know, I think that must be it, because, they didn't seem scared. And, you know, we'd take them out of the car, and when they're in the car and they're coming home, and they must think, what on earth's going on here, and this probably isn't good. But then we get them out, and we're sitting next to the cage, and we're chatting with them, and I think they can just sense that we're not predatory and that we're gentle. And so, we let them out. And then what's their first day like? It's probably a bit of a shock because they've never had a bath and a blow dry before. But they're amazingly calm. I remember Anne went into the bath first, and she's thinking, what on earth is going on? And Jessica was sort of waiting by. And it's the cutest thing. They call out to each other. And but it's almost like one saying, it's okay, no, it's not too bad. And so next thing I know, Jessica's actually wandering up to the bathtub saying, hey, what's going on in there? Is it good? It's the funniest thing. And then I turn the blow dryer on, and they've got sensitive hearing, so of course I put it on low to start. In the video you hear it fairly loud, but the first thing I do is put it on very low, and I bring it up towards them. And I mean, we all know that a blow dry feels pretty lovely, so they're like, I guess they're just, okay, this is good, this is all good so far, and just it stays good. So
that's the moment in the video you can absolutely see that the turkeys are like, okay, I get it, this is a great deal, when she's closing her eyes and just basking in the warmth of the hairdryer. You know, and it made me wonder, do you provide this service for like a wayward drag queen down on her luck who just stumbles, you know,
absolutely
stumbles in one day to be like, hey, you know, I really could use a nice clawfoot bathtub.
Totally.
Wonderful. You know, I mean, and there's something to be said about, you know, the tone of voice. And I think even my question of like, wow, how do the animals know they're safe speaks a bit to the prejudice humans seem to have about like, well, how do the animals know they're not safe? You know, that they're not in harm's way.
Exactly.
They're intelligent, bright, intuitive animals. But let's face it, you know, it's not exactly Edith Bunker rescuing these animals. If there's anyone I would ever want rescuing me, it would be your speaking voice is just so beautiful and comforting.
You're so sweet. You know, it's funny because one thing, when the children come in to pet them and greet them, I really love kids. I love little toddlers, and I love it when they come to meet the turkeys. But one of the things I constantly have to correct is I have to say to the kids, "Hey, sweetie, you need to lower your voice a little because they have sensitive hearing." Because kids, when they get excited, they tend to shriek. You know,
Yeah.
"Oh, look at the turkey!" And I just have to constantly remind them that they love being petted and they love you being here, but you have to keep your voice just a little bit low. So.
Yeah.
Like all of us, we're a lot more relaxed when people aren't shrieking.
So, Karen, you are currently, I believe, in the midst of cooking Thanksgiving dinner. Can you tell us what's on the menu?
Well, as I say in the video, of course, we start with that wild turkey bourbon. That's the only turkey on the table.
Beautiful.
So we'll start with, I do a hot apple cider with the wild turkey bourbon in it, which is just our kind of get everybody relaxed beginning to the meal. And I'm very lucky, you know, I live in Southern California, so we can actually sit outside and enjoy that. It's slightly chilly here, but slightly chilly is in the 60s. So we'll sit outside and enjoy that. And then I do, you know, some people don't like to do the fake whatever, but I love tradition. So I veganize all the traditional dishes. That's what I do. So we'll do the butternut squash soup with, you know, cashew butter rather than cow butter in it, and we'll do I'll do some tofurkey slices, and we'll have a field roast, and we'll have some seitan, and we'll have some gravy, and I even do yams with marshmallows, like, you know, some of our parents used to make, though of course now you can get vegan marshmallows to put on top. So you know, the Brussels sprouts and dill, and really the cranberry sauce, and all the classics. And then for dessert, I've made a sort of a couple of creamy pumpkin pies, where of course the creaminess comes from the fruity cream cheese and, you know, tofu and stuff like that. And nice bottles of Pinot Noir, and we'll be doing well, I think.
Oh, sounds so decadent. My God, what do vegans eat, really?
Yeah, we'll have quite the feast, definitely. But yeah, on this one day, I do like to do the sort of traditional meals, because that's just, I think it's fun.
You know, Thanksgiving, you know, just must have just such an entirely different level of meaning for you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I look forward to it all year, and it's really nice that I have some regular guests who come every year, some wonderful activists, and then some new people who always come as well. But the folks who come regularly just sort of say they used to hate Thanksgiving because it was so depressing. You'd go to somebody's house and there'd be some sad dead bird in the middle of the table. But now it's something to look forward to, that we all get to sort of spend it with like-minded folks, and turkeys who are just being happy and free and delighted and curious and all those lovely things that turkeys are. So.
That's so beautiful. Well, you know, this question is going to be a pretty easy one, but can you tell us something that you're thankful for this Thanksgiving?
Oh, yes. I'm actually thankful just to be able to do what I'm doing, to have Anne and Jessica with us, and to be able to have this beautiful opportunity, and thank you for being one of the people who's providing it, to spread a loving and compassionate message. I mean, that's just such a gift to be able to do that, and I'm extremely thankful for that, and thankful that there's a growing number, an exponentially growing number of kind and compassionate people who get that message.
Well, Karen, I think that's definitely enough to be thankful for one day. Thank you so much for all the work that you do, and not just for the work that you do, but thank you for just really helping to inspire and educate and embolden an entire generation of activists. You know, I always hear it said that, you know, a vegan spares the lives of 95 animals per year. And it just exponentially, when I think how many people we each inspire, I mean, it's just so incredible the difference that one person can make. And your book and your site really, really help show people just how they can do that.
It's just been such a treat to chat with you. I have to say that it's been a nice little respite on this Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Karen.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. How incredible was that? Karen Dawn, thank you so much for joining us on Big Fat Vegan Radio and sharing about the work that you do. If you would love to help Karen, in her effort to help the turkeys. Maybe you don't have the ability to take turkeys into your own home and give them a bath and a blow dry and to show them off to the world via the mass media. But you can always help by donating to Animal Place. Karen set up a fundraising page on her website that she would love for people to visit. Animal Place Sanctuary is in Grass Valley, Northern California. And Laura just recently visited there and posted some lovely pictures of the sanctuary. And this is where Anne and Jessica Turkey will have a forever home after this Thanksgiving. So if you can, please support the work of Animal Place and help them to rescue farm animals and educate the public. Any donation from $5 up to $15 billion, but more especially $5, will make a huge, huge difference. So look for that link in the show notes. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. As always, we would love to share with you guys some ways that you can contact us. You can always find us at bigfatveganradio.com, where all of our methods of contact are listed. But we love if you guys can call us at 315-VEGAN-01. That's 315-834-2601. And you can always email us at bigfatveganradio@gmail.com or tweet us at bigfatvegans. We would love for you guys to become a member, make a donation, check out tinyurl.com/BFVR support, or just go to bigfatveganradio.com and click on support us for a list of ways that you can help us do what we do. You can follow Laura and myself on Twitter and the Instagram. I am at Honey LaBronx. Laura is at Laura Yaz. Check out Laura's awesome 3 minutes about a movie. She's got some new videos up. You can check out her YouTube channel, youtube.com/LARAYAZ. And as always, you can check out Honey LaBronx's Vegan Drag Queen cooking show at vegandragqueen.com. I just got the footage from my most recent 3 episodes, which I'm going to try as soon as I can to edit and have them up for you very, very soon. The next episode I should be posting is with me and Big Fat Vegan Radio interview alumni Mindy Collette, who is my new gym workout buddy and is putting muscles on me. I can't wait to show you. So she's going to show you how to make some awesome muscle food. So that'll be up shortly. And just in time for Thanksgiving, I recently helped Colleen Patrick Goudreau put together a video version of her prayer for humans on behalf of animals. So if you go to Colleen Patrick Goudreau's YouTube channel, you can now check that out. That beautiful prayer that Colleen shared with us last year at Thanksgiving on this podcast, you can now actually share it in a YouTube shareable video format. So today, be sure to post that on the Facebook timelines of all your friends and family. I'm sure they will appreciate that very much. And as always, you can buy some of my famous medieval oil at medievaloil.com. As always, we'd love to give a shout out to Michael Harren for our awesome theme song. You can check out his work at michaelharren.com. And Kelly Huffine for our awesome logo and artwork. You can check out her work at kelly42fox.deviantart.com. But once again, I want to stress that I would love for you to check out Karen's fundraiser page on her website, and we will post the link to that in the show notes. But if you feel like typing it out right now, here it is. It would be www.firstgiving.com/fundraiser/Karen Dawn/Turkey Rescue 2013. So that's all we've got for today. Feel free to subscribe to us through iTunes or Stitcher or your podcatcher of choice. It's extra helpful if you can give us an awesome rating and a glowing review on the iTunes Music Store. Really helps people to find us. And be sure to let us know what you thought of this episode on our Facebook page. Send us a tweet, leave us a voicemail, or leave us a comment at bigfatveganradio.com. We love hearing from you guys. And today I would like to end our podcast rather than the usual theme song ending. I would love to tack on a little op-ed that Karen did for the Washington Post Radio entitled Tale of a Turkey Who Changed Thanksgiving. So be sure to stick around and enjoy one last word from Karen. And I think that's everything. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through my show notes. Yep, I forgot one thing. Let me just back up a bit. One thing for you guys to remember is, you know what's coming? Say it with me. That's turkey speak for Go Vegan.
At Thanksgiving, I remember Olivia. I met her in the year 2000 at Poplar Springs Farm Animal Sanctuary near Washington, D.C. Having fallen for Babe, the movie star, I thought I was there to meet the pigs. But Terry, the sanctuary owner, started our tour at the turkey coop. Terry opened the gate and introduced Olivia. She'd been living on a turkey factory farm till Hurricane Floyd wiped it out. Ironically, that hurricane saved her from a particularly gruesome death. Turkeys are not covered under federal humane slaughter laws. Olivia hobbled through the gate. Hobbled because the ends of her toes had been cut off. That's standard practice on farms where jam-packed birds sometimes attack each other. For the same reason, the end of her beak had been seared off. That procedure is painful, since turkeys use their beaks to explore for food, so they're loaded with nerve endings. But Terry explained that it's cheaper to hack off toes and beaks than to give animals enough space. I was sitting cross-legged on the grassy hill near the coop. To my surprise, Olivia limped in my direction. She came close enough for me to reach out and touch her, gingerly. She moved further in, and I could pet her. It was surprisingly like petting my dog. I reached my fingers under the outer feathers on her back and could feel a layer of soft down underneath. I'd only ever felt that down in luxury pillows. How odd and lovely to feel it warm on a living being. Within a couple of minutes, Olivia had edged herself into my lap. I continued to move my fingers through her down. She lay her head in the crook of my elbow. She fell asleep. I fell in love, and I adopted her. I couldn't take her home, but her photograph's been in the middle of our Thanksgiving table, surrounded by a vegetarian feast, for the last 5 years. Olivia showed remarkable longevity for a modern turkey. Bred to be deformed with a grotesquely huge chest with lots of white meat, she'd been too weak to stand when she'd arrived at the sanctuary. But apparently a home with space to move, grass to enjoy, sunshine in which to bathe, and loving care had given her the will to live. And live she did, happily, until last year when we received the sad news that the sanctuary's lovely little turkey ambassador, my little ward, had died of cancer. This year, we're heading to a local farm animal sanctuary to adopt another rescued turkey. We'll add a new photo to our Thanksgiving table arrangement, but Olivia's will stay in the center. She changed our Thanksgivings forever, and nobody can ever take her place.